But some things that I'm grateful for, kind of. I've applied for 2 full-time jobs up at Richland, and I've been called in for first and second level interviews for both.
Cool.
So I've got an interview this coming week. So those are 2 things that have happened to me or for me, and I'm grateful that I have so much support at Richland. I'm a former student at Richland, and I've had mentors here at Richland since I was a student. Then I left for 2.5 years to get my degree, and then I came back, and I'm ready to work full time. I teach adjunct, and
What kind of, is it okay? I mean, I'd be interested with positions you've applied for.
I applied for the professional support position that's doing the service learning. And like I said, I got a second level interview on that. And then the position that I'm being interviewed for this week, this second level interview, is working at the high school as an instructional specialist.
Cool. All right. Sounds exciting.
I hope you have to decide which offer to choose.
Well, right? No, I didn't get the other job, so, but it's all happened rather quickly because I've worked here for several, at the tutor before I went to school, before I worked in the learning center a couple of days a week, and then I went back to school, finished my degree, and I've been teaching adjunct for 3.5, 4.5 years.
Wow.
But it's hard to make a living. I mean, I love what I do. It's hard to make a living, what with all this craziness coming down from Austin.
The politicians.
You know, they make it very difficult. I mean, nobody goes into teaching because they think they're going to get rich doing it. But all they really want to do is just to be able to make a living. And when the policy makers, man. But like I said, if I get a full-time job, you know, and when dozens upon dozens of people apply for these positions, and you know, you're lucky to get a first round interview, and if you can get a second round interview, that's even better. But the real trick is going from that second interview to a job offer. But
Then that's the 3rd level.
right.
Get to meet with Tony, I think. Tony and whoever else is the head of those departments. Cool. Very good.
Michael, do you want to share anything?
Well, a very rare book came into the bookstore where I work. I didn't even know about it myself until
What
a
happened at
couple
the
of months
bookstore?
ago. I work at Half Price Books.
Oh, uh-huh.
And Melanie told me about this book she was interested in, and I looked it up, and we can't afford that. And then that was only a couple of months later that this very rare book came into the bookstore, and if I hadn't been there at that moment, it might have gone to the trash can. It might have gone out for $7.98, but instead it's going to be sold for $600.
Wow.
It's called
So what book is it?
The Total Filmmaker by Jerry Lewis.
And how is it that's rare?
Well, I guess nobody believed he knew anything about film when he published it.
But the thing is, many famous filmmakers, including Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese, have gone on record as saying that's like a Bible to them.
Really?
They carry it with them to the set.
Really? Even now? Wow. that's-
Well, and at least, yeah, I would say that we saw these interviews recently on a documentary
Wow.
about him. I mean, Jerry Lewis was doing groundbreaking things as a director in the 60s when he started that he doesn't get enough credit for. I mean, his humor is an acquired taste, but the things he did as a writer and a director and a producer are kind of groundbreaking, including being able to watch a scene on video playback.
Wow.
That's his
That's-
win.
Now,
Wow,
the
really?
determining factor is football games.
Right, and so he did a lot of interesting stuff. And this book, you know, I didn't know. I saw the documentary, and I was like, oh, I'm going to put that book on my Amazon wish list. $600, you know. But it's because it's rare. But actually, we found out that they're about to re-release it. And
Yeah, there's an inexpensive reprint you can get from the Jerry Lewis website. So,
Same book?
yeah.
But so you're getting the original, you're selling the original.
No, I didn't get it. The store's going to get it. I just was
That's what I
there when
mean.
it was
Oh, the
priced.
store's gonna sell the original?
Yeah, it's just what people want.
First edition.
You know,
Because if you
still
know
wants
anything
the first
about
edition.
the book, then you know the value of it.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Cool.
It was exciting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How often do rare books come through? It's not a frequent thing.
Sometimes they do, more often than you'd think. We're not at the real crossroads of the book world, and yet this stuff does find its way down.
And records didn't, was it Tony Romo? What, did he come in there and buy that
Oh
time?
yeah, we had a record that was signed by all the members of Led Zeppelin.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah, so Tony Romo came in and bought it for like $3,000 or whatever it was.
My gosh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, man. Is this up on the one on Northwest Highway?
No, the little one across from Valley Mall.
Valley View Mall?
Hmm.
It's tiny.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Wow, cool.
I can hardly hear.
Sorry. Oh, my.
But we're not talking about you, so.
Well, basically what's done
But I
is
want to hear it. Sounds interesting.
a very rare book had turned up at Half Price Books. The original book written by a famous filmmaker that apparently even famous filmmakers today bring to the sets. And they were wanting that book and were put on their wish list, and sure enough, it just showed up out of the blue. So that's kind of a neat thing.
It's very cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat thing. So
Thank you for explaining.
yeah. Well, okay. We might as well go ahead and get right into the presentation.
You want to
okay?
say anything?
Yeah, did you want to say anything?
Well, I suppose I could. I mean, I went on the same trip with those two, so that was one of the exciting things.
Hold on.
I don't know if it's entirely exciting.
Just moving Julia around.
Yes. I have this exciting bit of technology behind my ear that has improved my hearing.
We got a hearing
So,
aid.
yeah.
Was that through a audiologist or
Yes,
through a?
through an audiologist. New York Times wrote an article saying, why don't they get hearing aids? Talking about people waiting too long. I decided not to wait too long, but I'm already driving her nuts.
We'll talk more at the end because I'm usually coming. Great. Super.
Anyway, and then,
Congratulations.
you know, the grateful stuff, I'm grateful for family. I said that last time too, but we did this traveling. We had one weekend with all my sisters and all their kids. We had 15 people in the house.
Wow.
Then we had the Chicago trip, and we've got Jeaninie, and we've got her grandparents and her aunts and their folks. And we also took a little side trip to Wisconsin to see my aunt and a couple of cousins.
Wow.
So that was good to have all those people around.
Wow. What part of Wisconsin?
They live in Mukwonago, but there are dozens of them scattered all over the state.
Because I have relatives who grew up in Madison.
Okay, yeah, there's some near Madison.
Wow.
The ancestral home is Argonne, which is, 300 miles north of Chicago.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's where the family plot is.
Wow.
Most of them live further south now.
Oh, very cool. Thanks for sharing. How's everybody going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get to say what I was grateful for, though,
Okay,
because
yeah.
I forgot the question. I'm really grateful for family too. I'm really grateful for what I'm about to talk about. I'm really grateful for learning about that, and I'm grateful for my dad, and I'm grateful for his support and Joe's support, my boyfriend. I'm really grateful for my grandparents' support in everything I do and where I am right now. And I'm just still thinking about that. So.
That's awesome. That's great.
So,
Shall we start our presentation?
sure.
Remove this bit of space. Okay. So why don't we take a moment and reflect on that, and then whoever wants to start first. I guess I could go since I was, I'll set the tone.
Okay.
All right. So everybody got an idea before we start? Okay, something exciting has happened with me this last couple months is I went to Boston for the first time since 1995 and visited friends. Haven't seen since then. And also, what else? gave motivational talk. I gave a sermon at the church and also was on a New Age radio station.
Wow.
So it was wonderful. And am I blocking you?
No.
Okay, great. Am I you guys all right? Okay. So that was cool. And the other exciting thing is that my wife and I have planned to go on a Costa Rica vacation for 10 days in October. And that's very exciting. We're going to, it's self-guided, and we're going to rent a car and do it. And something I'm grateful for this group. And I affirm that we will have at least 20 members by January 30th. So that's me. Who would like to go next?
Not on my own, I have 3 roommates, but by myself. So that's exciting, very exciting new city.
Cool.
And I'm grateful that everyone here is very nice and very helpful, and it seems like it's a very good place to live, and I'm grateful that people around me have been very welcoming and very helpful.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Are you, where are you located right now? Are you in your dorm room or?
I'm actually living in an apartment off campus.
Wow, first year off campus. How unusual, how cool is that? Wow. Congratulations. How cool. That'll save you a little bit of money probably because the dorms are pretty high.
Yes, exactly.
And you don't have to buy them a meal plan or anything like that.
I do have to cook though.
And maybe you guys can cook meals together and make it a little easier. Awesome, congratulations, that's great. Anybody else?
I think Mandy should go.
Yay!
Okay, what was the question? What exciting has happened?
Anything exciting has happened in your life the last 2 months,
Okay.
and something you're grateful for, and I'm wondering if we ought to move
Yeah.
her further up so she can see the whole circle.
I was thinking that too.
I would love that.
Yeah, let's move.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Joe.
What do you say we move this,
The desk.
Camera, yes. Yes.
there we go, so we can see her, and I don't have to sit right in the middle.
Nini's doing her presentation, so I'm going to record it for her.
As long as I'm not blocking you, I'll stay.
I'm recording this too.
Okay, great. All right, great.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Well, if I scooch out, then you can't. Well, okay. Would you rather see that side of the room or this side?
Why don't you aim
Well, I
towards
mean,
you?
Nini, you can just shift
Why
your
don't you-
desk
yeah, why
while
don't
you're
you
talking
aim
to
towards
her,
her?
and
That's true.
Yeah, and why don't you aim it towards you since you're about the floor?
Next time we'll put her on a motor unit. She can control it
Put her
herself.
on what?
Put her on a little motor unit. She can
There
turn
we
it
go.
herself.
There we go.
Okay. Well, since I'm talking, I'll point it towards me and then when you...
Mhm.
Right, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So what's been exciting for me recently?
Last couple months,
Last couple of months.
since we last met.
Well, I was on vacation for 2 weeks. I went to Chicago, and actually me and Joe drove up to Chicago, and I got to show him like everything. We went to the Museum of Industry, which he really liked, Museum of Science and Industry, and Millennium Park, and I showed him some of my neighborhood, because I'm from Chicago. I was born there. Yeah, and I got to spend time with my grandparents. And they drove back, and I stayed for another week, and I helped her frame things, because she's an artist.
Your grandmother? You helped
Yeah.
your grandmother frame
Helped
things?
my grandmother frame all kinds of paintings, and help them put them up at one of the restaurants she has them at. And I signed up for quite a few classes this fall, and I'm excited to, I'm going to be finishing my associate's degree in spring. So, yeah, I'm up to a lot. I'm also at this presentation tonight. And I'm excited to be here, so.
Yay, wonderful, thank you, thank you. Would you like to share?
I suppose I could go.
Yeah.
I'll pause this.
Turn off the light.
I guess so.
You want me to-
will she still be able to see?
Oh, yeah.
see which one does
If
what.
not, I can ask her.
Yeah, that's the one we're
That's a good
going.
one.
Yeah, you can see, right, Juliet?
You can see. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't.
So I'm Mandy Sterling, and I want to talk about living an enlightened life. The smiley face is just for fun. I thought it would kind of have to be a good intro to feeling good.
Anyone?
So, has anyone ever experienced disconnection in their life? There's a strong relationship between disconnection and conflict. As soon as we're disconnected from what's going on for ourselves, conflict is more easily brewed. There was a really funny story actually while I was out in Chicago. I went into a gas station and there was a guy behind the counter, behind the register. And I was about to go up to pay him for the gas. And another guy knocked on the window. There used to be one of those pay things through the window, but it was blocked off. So the guy outside was wanting to pay through it. And the guy behind the register was saying, "No, you can't do this, you have to come inside." He told him about 3 times, and the guy was still out there. Finally, the guy behind the register yelled, "You idiot! You idiot! Just come inside!" And he said this about 2 or 3 more times before the guy finally came in. So the guy comes in, and he takes his money and he like slams it on the counter, and I'm like right next to him.
Wow.
And I turned to him and I said, "So are you having a rough day?" And he looks right at me and he says, "This guy's an idiot." Sure enough, the other guy starts saying, "I'm an idiot," and they go off on a tangent for a while. So this kind of communication is like the pure epitome of disconnection and conflict. So what do we do when disconnection happens? Move towards connection. Has anyone ever seen the movie Avatar?
Yay!
Yeah? Anybody else?
Great movie, I highly recommend it.
Well, there's a movie in here where the human who came, is in love with the Navi girl. I think Natiri or something. And they've got this precious moment where like he's turned back into a human instead of his Navi form. And they look at each other in the eyes. And they both say, "I see you." This is the kind of connecting and recognizing each other's minds and hearts that can bring us closer together. It builds a bridge between 2 people. So if those 2 people in the gas station were more focused on connecting and "I see you," then they wouldn't have been "I see how you're an idiot." So that would have helped the situation. Self-awareness. They were not self-aware, the people at the gas station. Sometimes in a dark tunnel, we need a flashlight to kind of see our way around. A lot of people are going around life without a light. They're kind of stumbling in the dark, and they can't see where they're going. So the flashlight is our own point of light, kind of our awareness, our self-awareness, our connection, our compassion, and our intelligent minds. When we're unaware of ourselves, we tend to disconnect from life and we disconnect from our emotions. And that also causes conflict. So self-awareness is a big theme of this whole presentation. Compassion. If they had had compassion for one another, there would have been less likelihood of conflict. Cultivating tenderness toward another person, is really precious. Giving from the heart. Being with another human being. When we can learn to do that, we're really enjoying the sense of giving and this happiness that affects not only yourself but the other person. Compassion is a really great tool in life for any relationship. So this is living an enlightened life, finding self-awareness, compassion, and connection. For me, the meaning of enlightenment is about being aware of your surroundings, your experiences, cultivating compassion for other beings, connecting to yourself, and beginning to just get things, grow, and learn. It's about waking up to new experiences and becoming more aware of the world. That's enlightenment for me. And basically these three practices are how I've come to know a better sense of an enlightened life and of compassion. The first is Shambhala meditation. It engenders mindfulness and being in the moment. It engenders compassion. Shambhala, by the way, is this historical tale of an old city where everybody's enlightened and peaceful and gets along in harmony with one another. So that's the vision that they have. Compassionate communication is a connected, communicating experience where you are aware of your experience talking with someone, you're aware of your feelings, you're aware of your needs, and you're also aware of theirs. So this can solve conflicts and bring people closer together. Co-counseling is healing old hurts, thus producing the ability to think more rationally of the world. I will get more to these points soon. So what is meditation? A lot of people have misconceptions about meditation, that meditation is like trying to force your mind to do something or pretend that your thoughts aren't there. In reality, you're always going to be thinking. That's what our minds are programmed to do. In meditation, you sit down, you realize that you're breathing, you feel your breath, and a thought goes by. You notice the thought, and you let it go. That's the practice of meditation. Noticing your thoughts, being aware that they're there, not trying to control them. It brings you back to the present each moment that you notice that they're there. Wait a second, I'm thinking. There's a power of being present. I was talking to a teenager about the power of being present, and he said to me, "Isn't it all about the future though?" I thought that was really interesting because without a present moment, we wouldn't have a future. There's a saying that goes, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, that's why we call it the present. And that's exactly how I think about it. You like that one?
I do like that.
For instance, say I'm freaking out about the presentation earlier today, and I'm thinking about later, always the future. Okay, what am I doing in the present moment? Sure, the future matters. I'm going to be giving the presentation. But if I don't study, if I don't work in that moment to be present, then the future is not going to happen as I'd like it to. That's why the present moment really matters. It's our here and now. It's really precious to treat every moment like our last drop of water because we never know what's going to be next. We're understanding our mind when we're looking at our thoughts. We're understanding what we're doing habitually, what we're thinking, what's necessary and what's not. We're being a warrior from this practice. Now, what's a warrior? A lot of people think of a guy with a big sword that goes through like a battle and he's like slashing people and he's winning and he's all victorious. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm a warrior. This kind of warrior is a spiritual warrior. It's going beyond fear. And that doesn't mean that we have to get to skip over fear. We're human beings. We're going to be scared. So being a warrior is meeting our fear and then going beyond it. That takes real strength. When I'm meditating, I have epiphanies or aha moments. This is a huge point of meditation for me. I didn't start the timer, but I'll start it from now. I had an aha moment. There, and I can think about a problem that I'm having. And suddenly, when I'm stepping back from it and just sitting there, the solution appears to me. It's like this. Don't just do something. Sit there. When you sit there with what's going on, you become more aware of it. So compassionate communication. It rests on the principle that everything we do to meet a need. Everything we do to meet a need. If I'm going to go to a restaurant, I'm satisfying a need for hunger. If I'm talking with somebody, then I'm satisfying a need for communication, maybe connection. And that we all have needs. We have physical needs and we have emotional needs. Physical needs such as hunger. He's satisfying his right now. Emotional needs such as connection and competence. None of us hear the same thing. I was talking to a guitar player that I was doing a music project with, and I told him, listen, I'm sorry, but I think it would be best for both of us if we went off in different directions, because I see we both have different things that we want to do with music right now. And I asked him, because his response was kind of like, I asked him, what did you hear me say? I'm just wondering. He said, you hate me, you don't want to work with me anymore, and you hate my music. And I said, I'm glad you told me that, because that's not what I meant to say. What was, I can't see what slide number this is. Oh. So Joe mentioned something that actually goes really well with this, that somebody told him. It's that the biggest problem with communication is the assumption that it took place. So, assuming that we know what somebody said, it's not necessarily true. There are 4 steps to heart-to-heart communication. I'm going to gloss over this really fast because there's a lot to get through. 1, observation before evaluation. So I'm going to see that he's over there eating an apple. He's sitting in a chair and he's eating an apple and he's chewing. That's an observation. An evaluation might be he's tired. I'm kind of jumping to assumptions. He's tired and he didn't want the apple. He actually wanted an orange. And I'm getting into all kinds of stories. So we make sure to stick to observations in a situation where we're having conflict with someone. Then we go to feelings. So what was he feeling before he ate the apple? Well, he was probably feeling kind of tired, because he had a need for hunger. So then we come to a request. Well, let's say that he didn't have the apple yet, so what would the request be? Maybe he could ask me, Nini, could you go get me an apple because I'm really hungry right now? So we focus on all 3 of these before we make a request, and it's a great way to connecting to somebody in an argument, and connecting with ourselves and seeing what's going on underneath the surface. Are there any questions on that before I skip the slide?
So before you start a difficult conversation, you make a request?
No, the request, you never want to make a request first, because a lot of people, they don't react well to anything that sounds like being told what to do. And a lot of times we make requests, but it doesn't really sound like a request. It sounds like a demand. So before we make any kind of request to move forward to a solution, we need to make sure that both parties are heard, that we see what's going on, that we see what both persons' feelings and needs are, because it's such a relief to feel like you're heard, somebody understands you. Then you can move to requests. So I've got more info, but this is all a quick skim over of these points. Co-counseling says we are all capable of being zestful, loving human beings. We are hurt emotionally as young people and wear our pain for the rest of our life by using patterns. What are patterns? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
You know? I know. What are patterns?
It's choosing the same kind of relationship, but they have a different face, a different body, and a different voice, but the same results over and over.
The same results, yeah, that's basically the main point. It's like repetition. You keep doing it over and over again. It's not good for you. And patterns could emerge in a lot of different ways. Like maybe the person who's always telling themselves how stupid they are. You know, maybe that's their pattern. Maybe that disconnects them. Maybe they can't actually do their schoolwork and do any good when they're constantly telling themselves how stupid they are. We kind of cultivate these patterns from stressful situations and carry them out through our lives. A re-stimulation is the result of a past unpleasant event, and it's being triggered in the present moment. So, somebody is talking to you, and it reminds you of something really bad. It smells like it, tastes like it, looks like it, and suddenly you're way more upset than you think that this situation calls for. Who has gotten like way more upset at something than they would like to? Joe? Maybe? Okay, so this doesn't make sense. It's irrational. That's exactly what it is. Because there are things in the past that are being triggered. There are things that seem like this past event, and your re-stimulation is coming up, and it's reminding you of this unresolved hurt. Well, what can we do with these hurts? There's a natural process, things like crying, shaking, laughing, yawning, etc. It's an emotional release. When this can take place with a specific listener, healing begins. What do I mean by specific listener? Somebody who gives, and this is a co-counseling term, free attention. So they're not expecting anything back, somebody who's listening to you. They're not giving advice. They're not interrupting. They're not telling you how much worse their problem is. They're just there with you. They're just listening to you. This promotes healing. This process leads to rational thinking, which in turn, if we have more rational thinking, a better world. So together, for me, they kind of form a bouquet. They're very complementary. I'm trying to find my notes here. All of these work well together. When we meditate, a lot of feelings and thoughts come up and emotions arise. When they come up, we can counsel on them. We know what's going on. After we counsel on them, we can work into something maybe a little bit more logical with NVC and think about what are the feelings and needs that I'm having. What's underneath that? And then finally, when we really touch on it, what are the requests we can make to actually move forward? So, meditation is a solid, mindful head to work with. Co-counseling, a heartfelt connection with ourselves and others. Reevaluation counseling, or sorry, this was compassionate communication. Co-counseling, also known as reevaluation counseling, the release of old hurts. They're very complementary for me, and I personally practice all of them. And in my life, they've made a huge difference. I've been a lot more aware of what I'm feeling, of why I'm doing things, and it's been a huge healer for me. So, what's the point of compassion? Well, there have been a lot of studies on compassion. Compassion may have ensured our survival because it's got huge benefits for our physical and mental well-being. Compassion reduces stress and therefore can improve our longevity. Compassion boosts our well-being and our sense of connection with other people. See how compassion is related to connection. Our acts of compassion lift others and make them happy, and then this in turn makes us happy. So it's a win-win situation. What's the point of meditation? Meditation can improve cardiovascular health. It increases creativity. And because you're sitting there working with your mind, you've got your mind in the mind gym, it's going to work to faster information processing. It can decrease stress levels. It makes us act with compassion. And it gives people heightened awareness of their surroundings and enhances the ability of us to take the perspective of other people. There was a study on, and it's in one of these links, on how meditation increases compassion. And they took a bunch of people, and they took a couple of older veterans in a room who were standing, and there weren't many seats available. 50% of the people who meditated gave their seats to the veterans, and only 15% of the people who didn't meditate gave their seat to the veterans. So there are studies on that if you're interested. What's the point of emotional release? Locked or distressed emotions do not disappear by themselves. When there's something underneath that we haven't let go of that's still plaguing us, we need a way to let that go. And there are different ways to let that go. Emotional release is a great way. A lot of people look down on crying. I mean, has anybody ever told you, snap out of it, or quit crying? Or to women, you're too emotional. Or to men, you're a strong man, you shouldn't be crying. So society really tries to squish that. And in reality, crying is soothing. It's healing. It's purifying. I mean, there are different types of crying. There's emotional tears and there's reflex tears. There are different substances in the different tears. Tears are your body's natural release valve for stress, sadness, grief. Crying stimulates endorphins, promotes physical detoxification, and heals the heart.
Can I share something?
Yes, you may.
When I was 18 years old, I discovered that I can totally blank out a developing cold by putting on music that would move me to tears. They discovered probably back in the 70s or 60s that the symptoms of a cold totally mirrored the symptoms of crying. They put two people together. One had been crying for a long time and the other had a cold. They couldn't tell them apart. And so I put that to work, and I cut out tons of times I thought I was having a cold. I feel it coming on, I go in a room, put on music, it would move me to tears, and it would go.
Wow.
I needed to really release, but if I did, I had no cold whatsoever.
Wow. That's amazing. Yes.
I self-identify as a crybaby. Thank you. I've cried all my life. I come by honestly. And, it's like I always tell people, yeah, and I'm good at it. So, right, I'm very good at crying, and that's what I do. And I'm not the kind of person who, I do have a friend who's an actress, man, and she can turn it on, but I usually think when she's doing that, she's actually doing it to draw attention to herself. That's my evaluation of her. But I will say this, years ago I entered a screenplay contest, and I had sent the screenplay off, blah, 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 and it wasn't the first time I'd ever entered the contest. And then I was flipping through my copy of the script, and I saw something that I thought I had changed, and I hadn't. And I worried myself into a crying jag about it, and I probably cried off and on for 2 days. And my niece asked me, Aunt Melanie, why are you crying? Oh, because I'm a crybaby. That was my answer, because I'm a crybaby. So I'm good with that. But now I do have a stiff motto that I'm a huge believer in the pity party, but only for 2 days. Right? I have a strict 2-day limit on pity parties, but no, I cry all the time. So it makes my sister.
You're releasing stuff.
It makes my sister not well, but.
Did you have comments?
Yeah, what's really cool is to put on, music can move me so profoundly, it'll move me to tears. And it's not about sadness, it's about ecstasy. And
Yeah, there's a happy kind of crying too.
Yeah,
I didn't have enough room to talk about everything.
it's ecstatic. It's an ecstatic feeling. And so the only way I can express is tears.
Yeah, tears. So tears aren't just for sadness and anxiety and grief. You know, they're also tears of happiness.
Of
They're
joy.
tears of joy. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also a healing, cathartic experience in
I've been
itself.
doing that since I was 18 as well.
So it's great. I mean, everybody's getting all funky about tears and about crying, but I mean, they're natural. Tears can fight germs. Tears lubricate your eyes. They remove irritants. They reduce stress hormones. So I mean, it's just a natural thing. And then laughter. I don't know if anybody's heard of laughter yoga. I mean, laughter is a really great way to decrease stress too. I mean, and it also increases endorphins. It's funny, huh? Crying increases endorphins, laughter increases endorphins, the feel-good hormone. It increases healing and it boosts your immune system. There's a story about a guy, Norman Cousins. He had a painful spinal disease with a very small chance of living. Okay, he decided to just check himself into a hotel, take a ton of vitamin C, and watch as many funny movies and TV shows as he could, until his disease went into remission, and he literally laughed himself healthy. So it's really awesome what this kind of emotional release can do, especially when you have somebody to listen to you, who's just going to listen, not interrupt you or anything. I mean, have you felt when somebody just listens, you know, is there anybody who doesn't interrupt you or doesn't try to make you think differently? Have you ever had anybody just listen to you?
Yes, as a matter of fact. When I was a student up at Richland the first time. in
Julia
the
says
80s.
yes.
Huh?
Julia says yes.
I had a great counselor. You know, we still, thank goodness we had the Lakeside Counseling Center, and they've got some good counselors. And when I was a student at Richland, I availed myself of that, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, it just feels really good. It feels really good. So I'm just wrapping up here. I want to say that it's really hard sometimes, and we need to keep trying. There are no quick fixes. We can't fix anything overnight. We can't change other people. We can change ourselves. That really helps when we can get that self-awareness and know what we're going to do, and then this in turn helps other people. Failing is a necessity. In order to learn anything or experience anything, we have to fail. We can look back on those experiences and learn from them. A lot of famous business people, like multiple people, have answered in similar fashions to the question of how did you get successful? And a lot of them were like, well, I failed, and then I failed, and then I failed, and then I failed, and then I got successful. Then I failed again, and I got successful again. So that's the way in life of learning things and moving ahead. What can you do now? You can be gentle with yourself. Softness is not weakness. That's why I'm talking about crying. Crying is natural. You know, crying all the time, crying for attention is a different matter. Really being with yourself in a soft way allows you to see the situation. When you're constantly pushing against life, you're running up a hill. You're kind of pushing the hard way. When you're soft with things, you can kind of just be there. Don't just do something, sit there. I think I mentioned that earlier. When you just sit there and you're with what's going on for you, it's Owen. We have, hello.
Mr. Owen, how's it going, man?
Hello. Sorry for
Hi,
the introduction.
how are you?
Fine,
Just
thank
wrapping up the presentation.
you. Good.
So when you just sit there, instead of reacting, you just respond. Reacting to a situation, you just jump up and you start saying, "Idiot!" out the window to somebody. Responding, you really sit there and think, okay, what's going on right now? There's something that I like to remind myself that I don't always remember. Wait. It stands for why am I talking? What is this going to contribute? What do I want by this? What's going on for me right now? You're a human being in a world of human beings. Remember that you're not alone. It may, you were raised differently. You're from a different part of the country. You believe in completely different things than someone else does. But that's still another human being going through the same game of life that you are. So remember, everybody that you meet knows something you don't know. Words Are Winters Are Their Walls was a song that Marshall Rosenberg, who is a founder of Compassionate Communication, sang at one of his workshops. And it was about how words can disconnect us and they can connect us. And it goes like this. I feel so sentenced by your words. I feel so judged and sent away. Before I go, I've got to know, is that what you mean to say? Before I rise to my defense, before I speak in hurt or fear, before I build that wall of words, tell me, did I really hear? Words are windows or they're walls. They sentence us or set us free. When I speak and when I hear, let the love light shine through me. There are things I need to say, things that mean so much to me. If my words don't make me clear, will you help me to be free? If I seem to put you down, if you felt I didn't care, try to listen through my words to the feelings that we share. I had a sore throat recently, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to still sing because I talked to Stephen about wanting to sing a song about this. And music for me, with these practices, really helps me feel what I'm learning. It helps me feel the compassion. It helps me connect to myself. And especially in troubled times and in troubled emotions. Emotions are kind of like storms. Dangerous, but beautiful. Stephen really knows how beautiful storms can be because Stephen is a storm chaser. He goes chasing storms around and taking photos of them. And all of our emotions at times, though, can be stormy in a bad way. Sometimes, I want to work towards compassion and connection, but I'm wondering, well, I'm a human being, a 23-year-old college student. I am biological, I get sick, I get angry, I get tired, I get hungry. There's no possible way that we can all be shining visions of light all the time. Sometimes a storm has to come through before the sun shines again. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Just because we have stormy emotions does not mean that we get to be unprepared for them. Because it's just like living in a tornado zone without making sure that you have access to a basement. We need to plan for our own safety and the safety of others. Hello, Jay. We need to plan for our own safety as well as the well-being of others and take care of our stormy emotions. They're not bad. They're just as natural as storms. Storms cause disaster, and so do our emotions. But they are a good thing because they point to deeper feelings and needs. When we check in with this energy and we get closer to our wholesome, present, loving nature, just like the blue sky, we can tune in. Someone once asked the Dalai Lama if he ever gets angry, to which he responded, of course. Things happen that I don't want to happen, and anger arises. But it's not a problem. Not a problem? It's not a problem because our emotions are natural. We're only human. But it's our responsibility to become aware of them, learn how to handle them, grow from them, and in this way, we can incorporate connection, compassion, and self-awareness into our world and dance with our storms. See the beauty of it. Thank you. That's a little bit about me. I wanted to go ahead. Oh my goodness.
We've nearly doubled in size.
Okay.
Well, that's typical when somebody gives a talk that they read out loud what's up there.
Yeah. I'm Jeaninie, and I really love helping other people, being with animals, singing, writing, and I love learning. I studied 3 practices that bring me light, which I just told you all about. Well, most of you. Although I think I've told Owen and Elizabeth and Jade a little bit about them.
Can you just mention briefly what they are? It's like,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to go back to them.
what, meditation is one?
Meditation, compassionate communication,
Okay.
and co-counseling. Yeah. So meditation is for mindfulness, compassionate communication is for communicating heart to heart with another person, and co-counseling is for healing our past hurts. And this is all related to living an enlightened life, being compassionate, being connected, and moving past disconnection to connection with people, with ourselves and with other people. And my passion in life is working towards and encouraging growth and self-actualization, spreading compassion, love, and self-awareness. I love creativity and I express it through writing, singing, and other pursuits. I'm working towards psychology and involved in multiple projects at school. And I'm hoping to also incorporate music in some way, writing songs that lead us towards this enlightened life. And working with people on teaching them the principles of these 3 practices. The principles of being present, of being with somebody, of being with yourself, and leading a life that's full. Not just chasing after things, but being aware of where you're headed. So I wanted to talk about what's a vision presentation. This is my first presentation, by the way. I've been in front of people before, I've sung in front of people, but it's my first presentation. Elizabeth gave one last time. Yeah, and we got to see hers, and that was on...
Well, I think the name was Compassionate Capitalism.
Compassionate Capitalism. Yeah.
Picture.
And you have the video. I think I still have the video of you doing that. And we really loved her talk. So a vision presentation is really for a student of the Visionary Club to be able to present what their vision is, who they are, what they're passionate about, what's dear to them. And when they're doing this, they get a really clear idea of what it is, because when you're doing a presentation, you have to think about, okay, what do I want my audience to know? What do I want to get across? And it all kind of falls in place. So that's why should a student do a presentation, really to get a clearer understanding of what their vision is and to progress with it, to get it materialized. Really. How do you get involved? Well, you can join the Visionary Club and come prepared with your vision, even if it's like a little piece of a vision and you don't know exactly what it is that you want to do yet. We come here to kind of collaborate, communicate, and get ideas and sparks and support for where you could go with your vision. Vision statements really help, and I think that's really great to do before a presentation to get an idea. I had to do, I did this one. I've got a few copies if anybody wants to see. Two more? You want? Sure. You want one?
Read hers.
And so I got all of my stuff on one page, which was a journey. And that really helped me get down on paper what I wanted to talk about. So I could kind of refer to that when I wanted to do my presentation. So, Stephen, what are your thoughts on presentations in English America?
Well, I'm in awe of how you put that out. That is just really magnificent. There's not much else I can add. Collaboration. Basically, Julia, remember how you said that you like the idea of we are all light as we like, and part of our job is to help incite the light in other people.
She's wondering who Stephen's talking to.
I'm
She
doing
has
the,
a spirit friend with us today.
the Gestalt work, you know, you're talking to an empty chair. But no, Julia is really there. She is really there. This is a real person over here.
She just can't turn her head.
And so I'm not just doing Gestalt empty chair exercises.
There's Elizabeth.
Yeah, there's that, huh? Yeah, no one just stopped in, and your name is?
Jay.
Jed.
Jay, yeah.
Hey, Julia.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good,
You've seen me?
I've been in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What?
you've seen Jay.
New world.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go, hey, Julie, I was like, what the hell is going on there?
Miss Hewitt. Her husband. What's your name? Michael. Owen.
I hope you've been practicing. Oh, yeah, right.
She's been busy.
Real good to see you. Look good.